Huawei's new Mate 80 series is getting a lot of attention right now, and surprisingly, it's not only because of performance. The biggest talking point is actually the memory inside the new Kirin 9030 chip. Many people thought Huawei was moving completely away from foreign technology, but a new report shows that things are not that simple yet. According to the latest chip analysis, some Huawei Mate 80 models are still using Samsung memory alongside Chinese-made memory. Now, let me break this down in a very simple way. Think of the Kirin 9030 chip as the brain of the phone, but even the smartest brain needs memory to work properly. Memory helps apps open quickly, keeps games running smoothly, and lets you switch between tasks without lag. The report says that the 12GB Huawei Mate 80 Pro uses Samsung LPDDR5X memory. This Samsung memory is not old stock sitting in a warehouse somewhere. It is actually a modern memory technology that Samsung has been producing in large numbers for years. That means Huawei is still relying on Samsung for some important parts inside its flagship phones. For some people, this might be surprising. Over the last few years, Huawei has been working very hard to build its own technology and reduce dependence on foreign companies. Because of restrictions and sanctions, the company had to find new ways to survive. That is why many tech fans expected Huawei to use only Chinese-made components by now. But the latest findings show that Huawei is still mixing both worlds together. Interestingly, the 16GB Mate 80 Pro Max seems to use memory from a company called CXMT. This is actually very important news. Why? Because CXMT is becoming stronger and stronger in the memory business. A few years ago, many people did not think Chinese companies could compete with giant memory makers like Samsung, SK Hynix, or Micron. But today, CXMT is producing more advanced memory chips and slowly proving that China can build more of its own technology. That is a huge step forward. Now, let's talk about the Kirin 9030 itself. The analysis shows that some parts of the chip are around 19 to 22% smaller than the previous generation. Smaller parts may sound boring, but they're actually a big deal. When engineers make parts smaller, they can fit more technology into the same space. That usually means better speed, lower power consumption, and improved efficiency. In simple words, the new Kirin 9030 should feel faster while also helping battery life. That sounds great, right? Well, there's still a catch. Even with these improvements, the Kirin 9030 is reportedly still behind the latest flagship processors from other companies. So, Huawei is improving, but it hasn't completely caught up yet. Still, the company is clearly moving in the right direction. And there's another interesting part of this story. Reports say Huawei is working on something called LogicFolding for future Kirin chips. Don't worry about the complicated name. Basically, Huawei is trying a new way of designing chips to make them more powerful and more efficient. This could become a very important technology for the company's future products. If Huawei succeeds, it may reduce its dependence on foreign technology even more. And that is what makes this story so interesting. The Mate 80 series is not just another smartphone launch. It shows where Huawei stands today. The company is making progress. Chinese suppliers are becoming stronger, the Kirin chips are getting better, but at the same time, Huawei still depends on some foreign technology, especially for certain memory components. So the big question is, how long will it take before Huawei can build a flagship phone using only its own ecosystem and Chinese-made components? That's the challenge. And honestly, watching Huawei try to solve that challenge is becoming one of the most interesting stories in the tech world right now. What do you think? Should Huawei continue using the best parts available from companies like Samsung, or should it focus completely on building everything locally even if it takes longer? Let me know your thoughts.